Speaking of the protocols of the country and what people have been brought up to do, Mothin Ali. Tell me a bit about Mothin Ali. Do you know about him? The fella who was shouting Allahu Akbar when he got into power, and he got
the Green Party.
The Green Party. Yeah. What's
Councillor.
going on with the Greens? What's going on with the left and the Islamo left? And how has this person gotten into power to shout Allahu Akbar?
I don't know. Is the answer. I don't know. I mean, look, I've not looked much into that. And what I try and do is be very evidence-based about when I talk about things rather than just make assertions. So I don't know. What I do understand is this man is actually a hardworking member of his community and well known for doing things within the community.
Yeah.
I think he actually, when there were the Hare Hills riots, was there trying to calm everything down. So let's not jump to conclusions about him because I don't know. I do think that shouting Allahu Akbar, even though it just means God is great, I do think shouting that on election night, if you have any sort of sensibility towards these things, might think, well, that might look funny, right? That might be interpreted the wrong way. But I don't know. Your other question was if there is now a relationship between the left and Islam. In many respects, it always has been. For various socio-cultural reasons. But, that is a whole broader discussion.
We need another hour.
Yeah, exactly. And something that we need to treat delicately. Because when we talk about Islam, that has as many flavors and colors and fragrances and types. And, a lot of what people actually forget, is a lot of perpetrators of, victims of Islamic terrorist attacks and, Islamism are Muslims themselves.
Yeah.
People forget this. And that the more we allow unbridled Islamism to take hold in our country, the more that actually the biggest victim is the Muslim community, both directly and indirectly. And as someone who has lived in countries with huge established Muslim communities, far bigger than ours, they actually do a lot more to address these things. You look at the Gulf states, you look at the UAE, they would have no truck with burqas. They got rid of the Muslim Brotherhood. They take this stuff seriously. They know how dangerous it can be. And we're being too lily-livered to really talk about this.
That's pathetic. I can't stand the burqa and all of that. I can't be.
It's not no place in society. I'm sorry. Just that should be gone.
Yeah.
There should be no face coverings in public. Most countries have banned it on security reasons. That's a good enough reason to get rid of it. It's not even cultural reasons. Same with why are you still wearing your COVID mask? That thing was over years ago. Now when you see someone getting onto the tube, and it's happening more and more regularly with a balaclava or with a COVID mask, that person intends to hurt someone or mug someone. Just why else are they walking around with their face covered
Sometimes
in public?
I think they might have an illness that they don't want to spread, like some sort of strange illness.
I'm sure that all those youths on bicycles wearing COVID masks are being ultra vigilant about not spreading any.
Those ones might not be.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like a sort of 17-year-old, maybe autistic girl.
And so here you are, you're actually using what I said is God-given common sense and gut instincts to be able to rationalize what might be dangerous and what might not.
Yeah. I'm remarkably sensible.
Most of us are as human beings.
Yeah, no, I think so. Did you see there was this, there was a fellow as well, an imam, who wants to buy an island off the coast of Scotland for Sharia law.
Yeah, well, I think the guy who was selling the island has now decided he's not going to sell it to him. Yeah. Do you know, what's so strange about this is actually, again, people don't understand some nuances that are taking place in the world right now. And Qatar, as a state, has come under a huge amount of attack for having Hamas headquartered there. This was an arrangement with the CIA, so America could keep eyes on them. So perhaps actually what we should be doing is saying to, people who might be of more extremist bent, fine, go to that island, call it Asbo Island, have every satellite in the world looking down on it and making sure that they don't get off that island and we know exactly what they're doing.
Is that right about the CIA?
Strategy.
The CIA had people from Hamas go to Qatar so they could sort of watch them.
Of course, Qatar is an ally in many ways. Qatar has its own agendas, does its own things. I know that because I work closely with people from the intelligence services, and I know full well that is the situation. Very often when you have entities and organizations, one of the reasons, this is interesting, culturally and historically, that Britain has often deproscribed certain organizations, not just in terms of Muslim entities, but For instance, the elements of the pro-Khalistan movement have been deprescribed in the UK and nowhere else. It's better if you know where someone is, where they're living. You can see what's going on in their bank accounts. You can tap their phones. You're much safer if you know what they're doing and they're under your watch than if they're not. So there's a lot of things, a lot of devices and tactics used in that regard. So maybe on some level, spin this all the way around and, Islamo Island isn't necessarily a bad idea.
Bloody hell.